start off with what the president is calling for, which is the prosecution of Pastor Paul Mackenzie over the deaths of dozens of his followers whose bodies were discovered buried at Shakahola Forest, that's in Kilifi. The president made those remarks during the prison's officers' pass-out parade today. The head of state likened the pastor to a terrorist, ordering Kenyans to do acts contrary to the tenets of the Constitution. And the number of bodies, by the way, retrieved from the forest have now risen to 73. Here is that report.
President William Ruto has broken his silence on the death of dozens of followers of Pastor Paul Mackenzie, whose bodies were discovered buried at Shakahola Forest in Kilifi County. The head of state said the acts of Makenzie are akin to terrorism and are contrary to the tenets of the Constitution.
What we are seeing in Kilifi, in Shakahola, is akin to terrorists. There is no difference between Mr. Makenzie, who pretends and postures as a pastor, when in fact he is a terrible criminal. Terrorists use religion to advance their heinous acts.
Ruto further directing relevant state agencies to look into the matter, even as he urged Kenyans to continuously be on the lookout for those who want to abuse religious teachings.
And I have instructed the agencies responsible to take up the matter and to get to the root cause and to the bottom of the ideology in the Republic of Kenya that is causing unnecessary loss of life.
At the same time, the leader of minority party at the National Assembly has criticized the criminal justice system and the security system for failing to prevent the Shakahola cult deaths. The leader of the minority party claimed the suspect behind the massacre has been in and out of court with his accomplices on several occasions, regretting that the criminal justice system set them loose.
Shirika hili la NIS lilishindwa kutekeleza wajibu wake. Na hadi si mtu mmoja, si watu wawili, si watu watatu. Watu waliopoteza maisha ni zaidi ya mamia. Je, polisi wetu na wachunguzi wetu walikuwa wapi? Lakini uchunguzi wao mkubwa ni saa zile Azimio wakianza kuita mkutano.
That so-called visit by Mr. Kome to Shakahola, following our statement, really, is too little, too late. In any event, if we were in a more civilized society, he should have resigned by now. He shouldn't have been going to Shakahola. He should have tendered his resignation and gone home together with his bosses. Okay? So we see that move or that visit as merely an insult to the people of Kilifi and Shakahola in particular.
Sijalala vizuri mimi kama mama nikifikiria wale wanawake wote ambao wameweza kuzikwa pale katika Shakahola. Nikifikiria ni watoto wangapi leo hii wameenda mbele za haki, wamerudi kwa Mwenyezi Mungu pasipo na makosa ya aina yoyote. Mimi kama mama nalia na naumia katika roho yangu.
Meanwhile, a section of clerics from various parts of the country have condemned the tragedy in Shakahola, calling on Kenyans not to have a blanket condemnation on the church.
We shouldn't just point a finger at Paul Mackenzie. We should also point a finger at ourselves and say, if we teach our people, we train our people, we disciple our people, then they should be able to distinguish between the true gospel and the false gospel.
Doctrine that made people die is not what we preach, is not what we believe in, and we want to appeal to anyone who makes policies in the government not to look into that and generalize for the whole body of Christ.
But humbly and respectfully urged the Kenyan government to think very carefully about punishing the churches of Kenya of any faith because of the actions of this individual.
For Prime Edition, I'm Gladys Mungai.